everyone. Here we go. And I think we're live. It says we have an excellent connection. Thank God.
Yeah.
So that's good. And we'll just wait a hot minute here for some people to join us. Here we go. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about, Allie. Especially the Amico bit, just because I've been biting my tongue for so long regarding this. Oh, hold on a second. You know what it is? For some reason, it's listed as unlisted. We should probably go public before we start talking too much, huh? There we go.
That would be important.
All right, now we're public. Public. We're live. I once did a stream where I was like chatting for like 10 minutes or so just with myself, and I'm like, wow, like people really must hate this topic. Like there's zero people watching it, so.
Oh my God.
Little did I know. It was, in fact.
Hilarious.
There we go. Okay, now we have 2 people watching. Okay, I'm going to post this to Twitter real quick while we wait for some people to show up here. It's always like a scramble. Where's the link? Where's the link? Oh, I got to post it. I need to entertain these people while I'm posting all this stuff. Oh, God. Oh, Lord, help me.
Oh, my God, the thumbnail.
Yeah.
I love it.
I thought simple and sweet here.
Yeah, straight to the point. Good.
Yeah. Here we go. Perfect. We're so live. Oh my goodness. 9 people watching. Andrew E is here. Excited to hear what you two have to talk about. Goodness gracious. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us so far. We're just going to BS for a hot minute here while we wait for YouTube to do its job that it does so poorly and notify everybody.
Yeah, I have notifications on and I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm already here, so it's fine.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah. YouTube, like the problem with Hard4Games especially is that it's so niche that whenever there's something like that's a little bit different, like if I put like a VHS tape that maybe people don't like as much, then YouTube will be like, oh, I guess I shouldn't notify your followers anymore. Yeah. It's like, no, God, please.
Oh my God.
That's funny. Someone mentioned that they were pinged at the same time.
Yeah, I did in my Discord because it got pinged. I was like, oh, let me ping everyone that we're live.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh. Force of Illusion just like pinged a Discord group that we're in together where we work on various things, and I didn't realize he had tagged me in something because I was trying to get set up with you and I was having technical problems, and he's like, hey, can you post the link here when it's live? Didn't even see it. And he's like, oh, it's live.
It's live now. Yeah.
Whoopsie doodle.
That's funny. Classic.
Yeah, I probably should ping my Discord as well. Sorry for the everybody.
I feel like for that.
Yeah.
Hope Tommy Tallarico swings by the stream.
Oh my God. I hope so too. Someone says, oh my God, is that the legendary SCF3?
Yeah.
The formerly known as. Formerly known as. She no longer goes by that name. She is the retro, sometimes with a 0, sometimes with an O, Allie.
Yes, that is true.
But retr0ali's in the chat too. That's cool. Hello. How's it going? So what have you been up to? Let's BS for a minute while people join. How's life?
Yeah, I mean, things are good. I don't know. It's just the usual streaming, work, making videos. I did a video recently. Limited Run Games sent me Shantae, the like Game Boy Color version. So that was cool. So I did a little like unbox. I did it on stream and then I edited it for a video, but I did a little like unboxing and played through it and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, so, I like
in your E3 happened. So
I like in your video because you clearly let everyone know that you're streaming it, and then in the video that you edited in, kind of partially for humor, you're like, okay, everyone, we're doing the outro now.
We're doing the outro now.
I'm gonna record the outro now.
It's meta. It's a meta.
Yeah, exactly. So it was
Oh,
very
yeah.
much like watching a hybrid stream review, which was pretty good.
It's a fun time.
You know, I of like this stuff because I watch, I don't catch every single episode that you do, but yeah, definitely a chunk of them, and I'm very jealous of all the cool shit that you get. Like you got the Astro City Mini in, you got Shantae, you got like did you get Saga Frontier as well from Square?
Yeah, I got a code for that. I just got a code for Legend of Mana too, but I haven't streamed it yet. I'm gonna do it probably sometime this week because the game just came out, and I realized I got my code. I was like, oh, sick! Oh my god!
So, Legend of Mana or Mana, depending on how you pronounce it. Like I had bought it back in the day, and I was really hoping for like a Secret of Mana or Secret Seiken Densetsu 3 experience. Did not get it from it, and kind of played part of it. I really liked the action, but wasn't really getting into it. Threw it aside. Played it years and years later when I was in college, and picked up my game file and everything, and kind of was able to continue until completing the game because the story is so loose, Yeah. And I fell in love with it. Like I just like it took. I think I kind of had to be an adult to really appreciate it a little bit more. And I've never played a Saga game, so I'm super stoked for this.
Yeah.
But I'm super jealous of this partnership you have with all of these people, especially Squaresoft or Square Enix or whatever, because you're like they're like loading you up with stuff, and I'm like,
anytime they have like any sort of like JRPG related release, I'm like trying to hop on and be like, hey, let me like review, stream, because like I mean, I love their stuff, so I mean, it works out.
Yeah, I have a lot of indie game developers contacting me for stuff and some equipment people, and I generally only do it if it really seems like super interesting or like if I need the equipment. Like, so for example, this microphone I got, and I have to do a review on it. It's fine, but I actually like really like it. So I'm like, I kind of need before. I don't know if you had ever seen it, but I was actually using a boom mic, like with film, like a shotgun mic that would come overhead, and I'd have to like hide it. Like in shot, whereas like people are more used to seeing something like this in shot versus like a boom mic is kind of funky. So like, and like the voice is a little sweeter because it's coming like down instead of like up, and like it's a lot better experience. But I wish I could get like Squaresoft games because like that's like the real friggin' deal. Oh, John is here, another producer for Hard4Games. Hello, good sir. I saw him today when I bought those games at his establishment. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that things are going well. I've been meaning trying to find an excuse to collaborate with you again. I've been kind of like doing my lonely work over here, so I'm like, I need to figure something out. And I was like, the Tommy Tellerico debacle yesterday was so spicy that
very spicy.
I needed to talk to someone
an outlet.
about it.
Oh my god.
So let's go ahead and actually, since John's in the chat here, he works at a retro gaming shop called Retro Taku. He can also chime in, John, and if you have anything to say on this next topic, and I'm sure you have a lot, and I can read it aloud here. But we received a suggestion for a topic today, and it had to do with game prices, but it was specifically Metroid, but we're going to go ahead and kind of expand it out to kind of game prices in general. But the individual was Chariot Goblin, and they say Metroid game prices are going up. Physical copies of Samus Returns and the 2 GBA games are high. Zero Mission and Fusion are topping the Wii U eShop charts. So they wanted us to sort of talk about that a little bit, and then also, so just so you're all aware, my daughter's going through a 2-year regression with sleep, and she is just started screaming in the background, so you may pick some of that up. She's okay. Her mother is there. If I wasn't streaming, I'd be there too, but she's fed. She's fine. She just is... You pick her up and she wants to play, basically, but she's just screaming to get you to play with her is what's happening.
Yeah.
And she's a resilient girl. and she'll do it for hours, unfortunately. But anyways, so I want to talk about sort of the Metroid prices and also, just game prices in general. Now, I recently did a video on PS1 RPG prices, which are getting insane, especially
Yeah,
for like the gems. They're $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, and you kind of expect that out of like a Saturn RPG.
yeah.
Like, where it's like anything worth playing on that system almost is like insane. But the PlayStation RPGs are getting wildly expensive.
Hmm.
With Metroid, it's kind of an underserved genre, or not genre, but
Yeah.
like series or brand. I remember like years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, the GBA games were still worth a reasonable amount, but apparently they've
Yeah.
exploded.
Yeah, I saw too. I feel like, obviously, with the prices going up, it's like people that maybe either want to replay the older games or, maybe some people missed out on the 3DS one, like they want to go back and play it.
Yeah.
That's obviously probably a big part of it. But then on top of that, you have just retro game prices in general are just insanity, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word, right now. Like I remember, I think someone, it might have been in my Discord, like someone had said, with the 3DS Metroid game, maybe a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, you could get it for a completely reasonable price.
Mhm.
And then, so they had the old screenshot of like the old price and then what it is now. It's like, wow, like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Well, I feel like Metroid is a franchise that the hardcore fans are always focused on, but the rest of the population totally forgets about until there's a new release, or a new like announcement. So it's like, if Nintendo made a ton of money with Metroid, they probably would be kicking it out every year or every other year. But instead, they're like, we're like an every 5, 10 year schedule kind of thing. It's like
Quality
really
over
loosey.
quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Federation Force happened.
I mean, I think, yeah, I get it, and that's kind of Nintendo's mantra. But like, you could hire more staff and have more teams focus on Metroid, or a bigger team focus on Metroid instead of like having a team once in a while do a Metroid game once every 5 or 10 years. It just seems like they, and the Metroid sales have never been like amazing, but it's something that's kind of in their toolbox that they pull out once in a while. I don't know. But it's also funny too because they don't give a lot of options for like playing those older titles.
Yeah, that's a whole nother, can of worms if, going into the whole topic of like Nintendo, making their old games available or lack thereof with like NSO and stuff. Yeah, I know. I think Luigi Blood. You've done stuff with him before, right? I follow him on Twitter, and he always tweets about that stuff with like Nintendo having their retro stuff, not like lack of it being available, or like NSO kind of being like a, I don't want to say flop, but like they could definitely do a lot more with it, and people want them to, And then too, you could even talk about the whole rumored like Metroid Prime collection, and it's a lot.
It's weird, I think too, like you have all these people like craving Metroid Prime 4, and then Metroid Dread gets announced, and suddenly like there's like this glimmer of hope, and it like resparks the community for like something Metroid, and so then
Ravenous,
and Ravenous. That's an interesting way to pronounce it.
Like people are like
literal like ravens.
I've
always said it ravenous. Maybe
ravenous, right? Whatever.
Maybe it's just a regional.
When they announce it, people are like, "Give it to me now!"
Like
inject
a raven.
it into my veins.
No, get it straight up in there.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, so like, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I'm not sure. I think people should just settle for Other M and play that one, and because it's cheap and no one loves it except for me. I had fun with it. Let's see what the comments here are saying here. Flavortown, Sup Tony, ew. These probably aren't the best ones to be reading.
Rather have a few good games in the series than oversaturation. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I agree. Like, you do want quality over quality. You want just like a bunch of crap, but
like a balance.
At the same time, when you look at Nintendo stock prices and you know how much that the company's worth,
yeah,
you could do this thing called investing in more games. Like you could do this thing called
Yes.
like other projects, because you could literally stop making money today and only go bankrupt 100 years later. Like they're so, I
Mhm.
mean, their stock is like, what is, like, I don't know how many shares there are, but it's like $500 or $600 a
Mhm.
share. Um, it's like they've done well for themselves. Like there's ways that they could produce a game, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like a rush development cycle, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like, but Metroid is something they put on the shelf for like 3-4 years, and then they
Yeah.
revisit it, and then they tinker, and then they maybe put it on the shelf.
Mhm.
So it's like, you know, it's
Yeah.
just they have a weird, a strange mentality, I guess.
Yeah.
But as far
I
as
definitely
other
agree.
retro gaming prices go, I was talking to John at Retrotaku, and he was saying, obviously with COVID, a lot of people were indoors, they wanted something to do, and now that
Mhm.
more people are kind of rejoining the workforce, they have disposable income, and now they
Yeah.
want something to do. So it's kind of wild. But I mean, I don't know how much, I know that you do like a lot of like handheld collecting, but have you noticed much of that and the stuff that you generally pursue?
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed like I mean, for me personally, collecting wise, like for anyone that watches my stream or anything, they know about my spreadsheet that I have.
Oh yeah.
So I have everything split up by like console and like all of that. And I mainly obviously really focus on handhelds, but I mean I've definitely noticed it even in like some of the weird obscure stuff that like I like weird Japan only Game Boy games that like nobody cares about. Like
Uh,
even that sometimes like people realize like oh hey, like people are looking for this stuff because maybe they heard about it in like a YouTube video or whatever, and now like with COVID everybody's home, more
mm,
you might have more disposable income. So it's like even like some of the most random stuff is spiked up in price, and it makes me glad that I got certain games before everything happened. And it's also made some other games like more, not necessarily more difficult to find, but they're more
mm,
expensive. And the
yeah.
one actually big example of that is like the Pokemon games are
Oh my God, yeah.
insane. Like, oh my God, it's literal insanity. Like, I am so glad I got, all my box copies when I did, because now I couldn't even imagine like I wouldn't be able to do it. I got all mine for like under $100, because I pieced
Not
together
anymore.
everything. Yeah, not anymore. It's insane. So, but
Well, you
yeah.
remember I was complaining when we did the PCNY thing about having to buy Crystal for like $40, and
Yes.
I'm like, why is
Oh, it's
Crystal
worse
so
now.
expensive?
It's
It's like
all right.
90. It's
I'm
like
gonna look
90
that
or
up.
100, I
I
think.
think it's 90. It also too, like a point I would bring up is I was actually on a buddy of mine's other podcast, and his podcast he collects retro games. It's 80 loose according to Price Charting, by the way,
Okay.
Crystal. That's insane. But
Yeah.
I was on my friend's podcast, and he is a reseller, but he also collects games, and he was saying, with how prices and stuff are now, like if there's something that like let's say you have like a Pokemon game, or not, no, Pokemon's a bad example. Let's say it's like, a very popular, easily to find Mario game, but Mario stuff's expensive in general, right? So
Mm,
like honestly, like you might as well just like sell it now and like get, the most money that you can from it before things crash. You can always just rebuy it later if you're
yeah.
not like super attached to it, you know? So like if you're trying to sell your collection, now's a great time. That's like the flip
Yeah.
side of it. But yeah,
Yeah, that's honestly kind of, and this is kind of a controversial hot take here, but that's kind
go
of
for it.
where I'm landing. Where for me, I have like all of these games, and a lot of them I picked them up at like thrift stores and whatever years and years ago, and I've been like, I still have a reasonably sized collection, but a
Mhm.
lot of the stuff that I care about is like equipment. Like I want
Yeah.
my VCRs, I want my 64 DD so I can dump stuff. Like I want things that I can use for the show. But like the
Yeah.
individual games, it's like I have, I bought the Trials of Mana, the HD remaster of Sega Densetsu
Mhm.
3. I bought it shortly after it came out. It's still sealed. I haven't had time.
Yeah.
The Legend of Mana and Saga game. God, I'm working. I'm halfway, 2/3 of the way through the first Grandia game. I've been playing it for like 5 months.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever like get to these games. I really want to, really bad, but like I'm
Yeah.
so slow, right? So I'm looking at all
Yeah.
of these other games I have. I'm like, I'm never gonna play any of these, and it's at like the height of the market. And I'm
Yeah.
like redoing my friggin' basement, doing like adult stuff where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, you want a, you want to buy some lumber, you buy a toilet. Hey, each one of these doors, it's like $200. You wanted it's like, boom, 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 boom,
Yep.
just all this crap. So I'm like, honestly, like, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I want to be able to display my collection, but like, what do I want in my collection? And so
Exactly.
it's kind of coming down less to like games and more like equipment and media. Like, I've been getting a lot of
Yeah.
Famitsu magazines and Japanese gaming magazines that are like
Yeah.
retro, and it's like those are kind of cool and like
Those are cool. Yeah.
harder to come by, and it's like, but the games are hot right now, so it's like I don't know, like I just kind
Yeah,
of
I feel you. What I did a couple weeks ago was, I regularly like, if I beat a game and like I'm not super attached to having it in my collection, I'll probably like sell it to go buy a different game, right?
yeah
But recently, what I did, on my stream, I went through my entire collection and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick out the stuff that like I don't have an attachment to, or like I know I'm not gonna play again, after playing it or beating it, or let's say I didn't like it, I'm not gonna force myself to keep it just for collection purposes. So like I have
yeah
a box in the corner of the room that's just like stuff I'm going to go sell just because it's like, one, I get more room in my room, but also, yeah,
mhm,
like it's the height of everything. So, like, if I ever really want any of that stuff back, you can get it back. But
yeah
also, it's like, I don't need to keep so much like extra stuff around, I guess, like in terms of games and everything. But
yeah
I get what you mean about, having more, like, especially with your content and stuff, more equipment and like specialized stuff. Like,
like
I definitely
utility.
feel
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah, exactly.
and it kind of pains me some of the stuff that I sold because like, oh, this is so cool, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like money's also really cool,
Yeah, no, but also the flip side of that too is like there's definitely probably been some things that are like more unique, or maybe it was like a Japan only thing that I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't sell that because like it was really cool and really unique.
Yeah,
But then I'm like, I got what I wanted out of it, whether it was like a
yeah,
game or like some weird peripheral I got to use. Like, at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, am I going to use it again? Am I going to play it again? If I'm not, then like I can probably let go of it. But
yeah. It's weird because I would never take the stance like 5 years ago, but like I think we need to
yeah,
start like as a community stop idolizing like the actual physical
thing.
cartridges. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like things like, and for example, like I'll probably always utilize limited run games over just downloading it digitally because I'd like to have it.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, if I have like an, SNES cart or whatever, um,
Mhm.
it's just how is that thing worth $500 or that
Yeah.
Japanese whatever RPG for the Saturn worth $600 or what have you? Like it's an idolization of like the
Expensive things.
yeah, whereas like it's
I
like,
feel that.
to really it's just data on a disc or a cartridge or whatever. And I'd obviously always prefer to have the physical
Yeah.
version of it, but it's like there kind of comes a breaking point, I
Yeah,
think, when it
definitely.
comes to the physical media, and it's like, it's really cool to have the original, but it's like you got to kind of start evaluating your life choices at some
Yeah.
point.
No, I agree. I feel that way about like I don't personally go out of my way to like collect like super expensive like games and stuff. Like
Mhm.
most of the stuff I want is just like stupid Game Boy games and RPGs. But
Yeah.
there's some stuff that I've stumbled upon that I either, I got it really cheap and now it's really expensive, or, what have you. And like that, what you pointed out about like, idolization, I guess, of sort of like, physical games, I guess, or having the actual thing. I think about, I have some like expensive GameCube games, and I'm
Mhm.
just like, man, like, it's cool to have, but like, if I sold that, like, I could like, pay off my car, not pay off my full car, but do a car payment or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it really makes you think. Cause I'm like, if I really want to play this, like I could just emulate it. Like, unless it's like a game, like that was expensive and I had an attachment to, but
Yeah.
it's just like, it's interesting how that works. And also, you bring up, what's funny, like, or what I thought of when you were talking about that with like people sort of idolizing like physical media. I always think, and like I have friends like this, so this is like not shots fired at anyone, but like I have friends and like, you know, YouTubers that have like the giant wall of cartridges and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's kind of a cliche at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I always find that funny where it's just like, you know, I've always seen people in the comments point out, it's like, oh, like, do they even play all those games or whatever? You know, and it's just funny. And again, it's not meant to be like shots at everyone because I'm a hypocrite because I have all my games behind me too. But I always just find that kind of interesting, like, you know, the physical, you know, having that, you know, a bunch of, you know, NES carts or SNES or whatever it may be, even if it's like a shitty game. But
yeah. And a lot of my collection has a bunch of shitty games where it's like, I don't know, like I've really questioned my collection over this past year. Like
what's the worst game you have in your collection?
Oh, I have a lot of bad games.
You have a lot
Oh yeah, I have a lot of terrible games. I mean, I got Shaq Fu, I got Balls 3D for like the Genesis. I have some bad 3DO games. One of the worst games I've ever played, I think it's for the Genesis. I think it's like a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Fighter. And it's just the worst game.
Oh,
it's
unfortunate.
So bad. Oh, Last Action Hero. You know the Arnold Schwarzenegger flick from the 80s, I think? It might have been early 90s. Anyways, they made a game out of it, and I can't get past like the third screen. It's so bad and so hard. It's just it's rough. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think the worst games that I own, like, I think if I'm just picking like if you want to call this a genre, but like, you know, really bad shovelware licensed Game Boy games.
Yeah.
I have a few of those and they're just terrible, but I had them as a kid and I'm nostalgic from them.
Yeah.
Like Toy Story on the Game Boy, the Star Wars game on Game Boy. I never could even like get through that. Some other random like license, like, really any like crappy license.
Yeah, and there's stuff from my childhood that I'll never part with because I just have such fond memories with that thing, you know. But there's just other stuff from my adulthood too, where it's like I bought it thinking I would play it, and I just never had the time, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. Yeah. I need to sell this. Like I need to just move on. Like I could buy some other crap, you know, like you know, even still, like I traded in a bunch of stuff at the local game store. That was like okay stuff, and I bought just a big old, this was like before COVID, but just a big old dumb steering wheel and pedals. So me and my son, it was just so me and my son could play like Outrun 2 on the Xbox with a steering wheel. Because at the time he was younger and he didn't really understand the joystick.
It would make more sense.
But he understood the steering wheel. So he could sit on my lap and we could do it. And it's just like, you know, I'd rather get rid of some crap so he can have some fun, you know, sort of thing. I don't know. Like maybe it's whatever. But either way, let's move on to the next topic before we totally piss off everyone watching. So our next topic is actually one that you suggested, Allie, regarding the Pokemon leaker. It's not really leaking the game, leaking bits of the strategy guide. Do you want to talk about this?
I'll run through this article real quick. So basically, for anyone that doesn't know, back when Pokemon Sword and Shield came out, there were these leaks of game content. When I say game content, I specifically mean, in this case, the strategy guide. Someone was basically taking pictures of the strategy guide, and of course, some of the pictures looked, you know, with any leak, some of the pictures look like super crappy, and you're like, is this real? But then there's other things about them that you're like, oh, like this, you know, there are signs pointing to it being legit. So what happened was the Pokemon Company, you know, they hired an outside firm that, you know, was all about like online forensics and stuff. And they were like, hey, you guys need to help us find these people that leaked the strategy guides like before the game came out. And this is through like Discord, Reddit, and 4chan. And in the article they mention, in this Kotaku article, they mention how the strategy guides, you know, how they were, I won't go too much into the details, but essentially like they were under lock and key, obviously.
Yeah, they had like multiple layers of protection. It was like
exactly
wild. It was like a bank.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
Fort
Knox
like it says
stuff. Like, Yeah, like game working files are limited to a certain number of people, and like all these digital security stuff, and copies of the strategy guide were stored in secure locations under tarps, and individuals with access to the printed guides are not permitted to bring cell phones or cameras into the areas where the strategy guides are stored, which obviously, well, now we're here.
Snuck
Now
through.
we're here. Yeah, so what happened was it was an employee of the printing company of the strategy guides, and his buddy uploaded the pictures to the internet, and they agreed to settle with the Pokemon company. And they have to pay $150,000 along with the cost of their legal fees. And then it just mentions at the end, the Kotaku article says that's a life-destroying amount of money to have to pay for leaking a video game, and that's what they settled for, not what they would have to pay if they had been found guilty. But then Nintendo is a company famous for having absolutely no chill, so we shouldn't expect any from the Pokemon company either.
Yeah.
My main starting point on this, and I'm curious your thoughts on it, is like, for this specifically, I don't think, from what I remember of these leaks, it was just randomly being posted on like the internet and Twitter and 4chan and stuff. I don't think it necessarily originated, let's say, from like one guy trying to get clout for his Twitter account. Like you would think someone leaking something like this, with leakers as they do, building a reputation, if they wanted to gain something out of it, you think they would like, point someone towards like a Twitter or like whatever. But this was sort of just like, put out there on the internet or whatever. Yeah. So it's just really worth it for like that amount of money you had to pay. Like I literally don't understand. So.
Yeah. I mean, so one possible adjustment, it wasn't just $150,000, it was $150,000 each.
Oh, for each of them?
Each of the two individuals. I believe, if I've read that properly.
Yeah.
It was
I think you're right.
Each person. So Pokemon Company is getting $300,000 out of this. I have many thoughts regarding this, and it's holy shit. First off, like you said, like it was just one of those things where it's like, oh look, I'm doing like, look at this, and like it kind of spread and what have you. I guess the reason why like Pokemon Company would sue them or ask for try to get some sort of settlement. Obviously, it's a warning shot to everybody else.
Yeah, like setting an example.
They believe in some capacity that it, damaged the launch of, what was it, Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Or revealed things like the giant versions of the Pokemon or whatever.
Yeah, they showed some of that.
Yeah, that it revealed some of that before they were ready to showcase it. So it kind of like got kind of undermined that a little bit, which was a marketing thing for them. So for them, it was kind of like a monetary loss, but it's also not like they leaked the games. They leaked some of the strategy guide, which is a lot different. So it's like, on the one hand, it's like, wow, guys, like, holy shit, like $150,000 each, and it probably was like $500,000 that they were asking, or something like some ridiculous amount. Initially, super large amount of money for what seemingly probably didn't amount to much like actual damage in terms of like the Sword and Shield release. I mean, the Sword and Shield did perfectly well. I mean, it reviewed well, but a lot of people bought it. I don't know, but at the same time, you should know better than to, especially. So, for example, like, a lot of the stuff that we preserve on Hard4Games is a lot older. People aren't making money on it. It's not about to be released for the first time ever. It's an older version. And even then, we will dump a file for the owner. And if the owner wants to release it, like we provide a digital copy, and if the owner wants to release it, awesome, and I'll let people know about that. We try to do no releases ourselves, just for IP legal reasons, whatever. But not only do I not have the tech to dump something current gen or even within the last 2 generations or 3 generations, but I would never even want to try, because it's so recent. It's like in some capacity somewhere, the company may still be making some money on it. And especially with a game that's about to be released, and Pokemon, a huge franchise, you should. I mean, I'm not saying that charging them $150,000 each was right, but those people should have been smarter. Like that was playing with fire, like
Oh
hardcore
yeah.
playing with fire. I'm gonna read some comments here
Pokemon,
real quick because
yeah,
we
I
haven't
mean,
in a
Pokemon
minute.
series is like the Incredible Hulk of video games. The more you bash it, the bigger it gets.
Oh my
Yeah, it
goodness.
sounds about right.
I guess they chatted for 20 minutes and just started talking about Pokemon leakers getting sued. No, this was on our agenda to talk
We
about.
have
I
an
wrote it all
agenda.
down right here. We have multiple topics we're talking about right here. I wrote down, I think Allie's going to wear her Twitch shirt today. And, no, I didn't
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
what I wore.
But,
Yeah.
no, this is not us chatting. This is
We planned this.
pre-organized, planned topics of conversation to warm you guys up to the juicy, juicy finale that will
Oh
be
yes.
the Amico chef's kiss.
Oh baby.
Exactly. One person says, Mr. SG says, glad I ain't a Pokemon fan. Oh my goodness. Isaac Stringer says Nintendo is mean to do this. Well, yeah, technically it was the Pokemon company, but functionally, yeah, Nintendo, I guess. Um, it's yeah, guys. I mean, this was one hell of a settlement. I mean, it really
Yeah.
was. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what did you have anything beyond that to say about it? It was just it's
I
kind of
mean,
shocking.
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna leak it, like, I mean, I'm assuming maybe, and I'm not like a tech expert, obviously, but you would think like maybe if you're clearly like they were gonna leak it or they did leak it and they had intent to do it, if you were gonna do that, you'd maybe be smarter about it. Maybe make it so that forensics company can't find you or make
Yeah.
it harder to find you or
Use a
something.
VPN or something. I mean, for the love of
Yeah, I
God.
don't know, but it's just on one hand, like, yes, they're within their right to do that. The guy like broke his, NDA or whatever it may be to do that. And
Yeah.
on the other hand, it's very heavy handed, and pretty crazy. But, I see both sides of it,
Yeah.
they definitely want to set, given all the Nintendo leaks and stuff over the years, and like they gave a leak and all that kind of stuff, they definitely want to set an example. But I don't know, I'm just very curious why the guy did it. And like I would assume someone would want to leak something because they want like internet clout, but
Yeah.
maybe they just wanted to
Honestly,
be a shitter.
it may have just been like, oh wow, cool, like I see this thing, oh man, oh like this is neat, and then it just spiraled out of control. Who knows?
Yeah.
Someone mentioned Cyrus Nagisa said his Pokemon company was not mean to do this. People need to learn consequences of their actions. Well, I
That's
mean that's true. I mean, I was gonna kind of wrap up what I wanted to say by
Yeah.
functionally kind of repeating what I had mentioned before, where it was like, you don't mess with something that's so current and that they're about to make money on. Like, what are you thinking? Like it's never been released before, and now you're leaking something. And then also too, I think there's a strong difference between like someone finding a prototype that's like 30 years old and dumping it and seeing
Yeah.
what's on it, and also hacking Nintendo servers. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh,
Giga Leak. Now we all benefited greatly from the information from the Giga Leak. I'm glad we got all of that information, but I'm sure as hell wouldn't want to be the person that did it. Like
oh
that,
God.
like that's real.
Dude, I
That's real
found
trouble
out
right there.
the guy that did it was from like a forum that I used to like frequent, like
Oh my
way back.
goodness.
I was like, I saw the name, like his handle, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know
Like
that guy.
I know that
I know the
guy.
guy.
He's wild. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had a ton of Pokemon stuff out of the Giga League, so like
yeah,
sign me up. Well, not
yeah,
sign me up, but
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved covering it. Holy crap, it was Christmas.
it was literally Christmas.
But it's also just like if you want to stay out of trouble, that isn't something you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you gotta.
I want to know that guy's thought process that leaked the strategy guide. Like, what did he think was good?
Yeah, like he probably thought he was gonna get a slap on the wrist at most, or wouldn't blow up, or
Maybe he's
just say in
trying to like.
his.
I wonder if he tried to like sell the info or something. I don't
I
know,
don't know.
but
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see. I'm reading this comment here. Anyways, yeah, it's just kind of wild. So I don't know. I feel bad for anyone that owes $150,000 on anything they can't own. Like, it's
Yeah.
like you owe money on your house, yeah, but you're buying it. You know what I mean? Like, you owe just like money that you'll have to pay off like a mortgage for 30 years or 20 years or whatever it happens to be, and it goes just into the abyss of the Pokemon company.
Hmm.
Like, my
Gotta
God.
pay for those plushies
Yeah,
somehow.
exactly. Funding those plushies behind you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my stash.
So let's talk about
Um,
something oh so juicy.
oh, I'm ready.
I'm gonna
I'm ready.
put this now. You finally, everyone in the who's watching the video on YouTube, Allie won't be able to see it because I'm on Google Hangouts with
No,
her.
I can
But
see it. I see it. I have the stream open.
oh, okay, I gotta put this up top here above your
Yeah,
handles here.
it's all good.
Get out of here, Allie's social handles. What are you doing? Do I have to mute you? So I was trying to, how you can arrange them in OBS to be
Yeah, you
like
can like stack
layers,
them. Yeah.
like Photoshop. It wasn't allowing me to move it. Anyways, so speaking of leaks, this was not a leak at all.
Yes.
But there was a recent Intellivision Amico debacle, if you will.
That's a
And
word to use
yeah,
to
but
describe it.
before we do this, I want to just milk the udders of this thing for the
Yes.
hottest minute. Vandalizer1413 says Tommy has entered the chat. Um, the Intellivision Amico. Before I say anything about it, what were your thoughts on it when it was announced? What are your thoughts on it now? Has your thought process evolved or changed on it?
Yeah, so I told you before we started, I've been following this story from Pat Contry's podcast, Completely Unnecessary podcast, where him and Ian
Mm,
have been talking about it. Every time something happens with it, they'll bring it up. So that's been the viewpoint that, like, the angle that I've been viewing it through, and I've just seen it as just a hot mess, basically. And now with
yeah,
what we're about to talk about, I'm like, oh my god, like how could it get worse? Like this
yeah.
is yeah. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember like I caught wanted to see you podcast live, and I kept commenting, "I'm here for the Amico hot
Yeah.
gossip," and Pat was
The
like, At
discourse.
what cost? At what cost?" And I'm like, "No,
Oh my
I need
god.
this." I mean, basically with the CU podcast, what functionally happens is, and they're totally within their rights to do this because I don't disagree. Um,
Yeah.
but basically what happens is some Amico news comes out. It always kind of blows up in Intellivision's face, and Ian and Pat take, pardon my language, for any ladies present, but they just
Oh, for my
drop trow and take a big old dump on it. Like
hmm.
it's just like, but it's entertaining viewership.
Yeah.
But so my thoughts on the Amico are like they're maybe not as negative as Pat's, but they're leaning in that direction. I'd say
Yeah.
for sure. So for those of you that are unaware, the Miko, you can see part of it in this screenshot. But basically, it's an Intellivision sort of revitalization of the Intellivision console for the current generation. The Intellivision came out early 80s. It was a competitor to the ColecoVision. I think it was like 83, 82, something like that. I could be slightly off on that. And basically, the Amico is supposed to be this family friendly, like primarily 2D, low powered, but high fun, like couch co op. Everything's rated E. Like, get the family back in the living room because gaming has strayed away from the couch co op and the family entertainment and this and that. This is sort of their, not what I believe. You can get family entertainment on any console, but
Hmm.
basically their whole idea is that this is going to bring families back together in the living room. Like, this is going to be a fun party thing. This is going to be great for kids, etc., 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 which is fine. And they do have some good ideas, like games only being $10, no DLC. You can also play with your like phone. There are a couple other things, like for example, like if you downloaded a game, you could like prove the fact that you downloaded it at your friend's house, and then you could play it on your friend's console and kind of share it for an interim period of time, or something like that. I don't know the exact details, but it's less restrictive in terms of like, no, you bought this, you have it, you can't play it anywhere else. It's more liberal in terms of that thought process, which I think is cool, but it's also like severely underpowered, severely overpriced. Like lots of lag has shown up in the videos that they've done. They touted lots of like original IPs, but most of them aren't original. Most of them are just slightly changed ports. The software, some of it looks fun, but it's not anything really super proprietary. It's nothing that would make me want to spend mid 200 range dollars on a new console. I'm trying to be kind of fair and balanced here. What are your thoughts on what I said?
There's that whole Photoshop thing too, right? I think that happened recently.
Yeah, it's kind of part of this too. But yeah, so basically kind of getting into the story. Well, I guess, do you want to talk about the Photoshop thing real quick before I jump into the Ars Technica thing?
You jump into the article.
Okay.
Yeah, just jump into that.
So functionally what happened is that Intellivision had their dev portal not really even unlocked, just public, like unknowingly public. And because it was a public facing site, no one knew it was public. I guess maybe you just had to know the URL, but there was no like lock password system or anything. Internet Archive, that just sweeps the entirety of the internet, archived it because it was public, right? So basically Ars Technica, and an author whose name escaped, it's Sam Makovic, Makovich, something, basically wrote up an article on it, and it was I don't know if you read it, but it was reasonably fair. Like, it was not overly brutal towards the Amico, but it was basically saying like, here are their 10 commandments, which were like, have to be E-rated, have to have multiplayer in mind, no more than $10, i.e. you're not going to make any money on this. And it also showed comparable specs, like with other systems. And those specs were very much Awakening Bear says, but guys, cornhole, if you're unfamiliar, is basically 2 planks of wood, kind of like skee ball or whatever it is in an arcade.
Yeah, kind of.
But you throw like beanbag sacks, and it's like a popular like barbecue outdoor game. That's a game that they've advertised. Amico, the Intellivision, has advertised as like being like a killer app multiple times. It's not impressive. Anyways, point is that these specs were very comparable to 2016 through 2018-ish, I think, era cell phones. So it's like 4 years old, 5 years old kind of situation, more than that maybe, but you're paying mid 200 range dollars for a console that has that type of power, right? Granted, you get the neat little whatever controllers, but basically the author was like, hey, this is the deal, this is what they're telling their devs, this is what's going on. And Daddy Tommy no likey, basically. I'm gonna catch up on these comments real quick while all that sinks in. Everyone's like, cornhole hype, cornhole. Let's see here. Lewis says, I like the Amico concept, but $250 for the console and heavy-handed guidelines are too much for me. Yes, I agree. This seems more like a $99 console in my mind. Honestly, if it was $99, I might pick it up just for some quick family mini game stuff with my kid. But for $250, I can't really justify it.
Yeah.
One person, Sensel, says I would buy it for $50. Never mind $250. I hate the controllers. Touchscreen sucks, etc., etc., etc. So, getting back to the article and the tweet storm, basically Tommy responded. Tommy is the Tellerico, is a storied and very talented and award-winning musician. He has composed a lot of tracks for numerous games throughout the years. A lot of really good stuff. He's an excellent musician. Apparently, he's also Steven Tyler's cousin from Aerosmith. Apparently, but he is the CEO of Intellivision, and he writes, "Way to post copywritten." First off, let me stop him there. The word he's looking for is copyrighted.
Yes.
So copywriting with a W means you're writing copy, which often is a advertising or marketing term where it's like you have your advertisement and it has graphics and it has copy, your words, and the design is how those things flow and connect, right? So copywritten, in that sense of how he writes it, means literally nothing other than it was written by a copywriter.
Yes.
But moving forward, way to post copywritten confidential information not for public, as well as other info that is false. The info was from Intellivision's website. We will make sure the folks at Ars Technica are aware. Legal incoming. Enjoy. So snarky. So snarky. So then he posts on his own Twitter, Ars Technica journalist. Which is like so petty. Like, I hate when people do that. Just illegally posted a bunch of confidential information about Intellivision and his ridiculous misinformed article. Yeah. The private info had not for public use and confidential all over it. Unfortunately, legal action will need to be taken. And then he goes, same genius who thinks using stick photos are against the law. Same genius who thinks using stock photos are against the law. Do you want to talk about that? The stock photo thing?
Yeah, wasn't it, I'm trying to remember, wasn't it like they had photoshopped their, like controllers or whatever?
Yeah, there was like a stock photo they had, and they just like photoshopped their controllers.
Because I saw a comparison in some article where they showed like the original and then what they had changed it to.
Why wouldn't you just hire a photographer? Like,
it just goes to show too, like in terms of like, you know, credibility, I guess. Like, not that there's anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with using stock photos. Like, I use stock photos for work all the time.
Sure, yeah, same here.
Like, but like the thing is, it's like with a project like this specifically, like it'd be different if I had to like Photoshop something for work and like it was for some like small, you know, local business. Like we do that a lot. Like that's normal. Like that's fine. But when it's something like this on such a huge scale that has so many eyeballs on it that like, you know, people, you know, in terms of like your maybe sort of reputation is like not too great already, you know, that's not going to help you.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like what people think about you and credibility and stuff, because for that, it's like, why not just like, you know, hire a photographer and just take pictures? They have money. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I work in marketing and it sounds like, you know, you do a lot of like photoshopping and stuff as well. So like I Photoshop products onto stuff all the time. However, when I Photoshop products onto other images, it is not in a way that makes you think that the product is either used for something else or is currently being utilized. Like, so for example, they were like pointing the controllers at the screen and like playing the game or whatever. So it's like, you know, I'll Photoshop a product into an environment to like have a background.
It's not misleading.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's not misleading. It's not like this is how it functions. It's different, right? And then whenever I can, I'll shoot my own photography. So there's like a nice mix of like the product in an actual environment and the product, you know, intermixed or photoshopped into something else. It's not supposed to be deceiving when it's photoshopped. It's just supposed to be pretty is the idea. And I feel like this was a little bit more like you already have so many of the cards stacked against you. You should just hire a photographer. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny because the, you know, there's women that like models that we've utilized at work, and I'll go to other websites and they're the same women are there too. So it's like people will find out if it's a stock photo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like a big secret, you know, like it's
Yeah, I think it's just like the intent, like the intent behind it. Like, with what you're talking about, like, it's not like anything that's like super, crazy or misleading or whatever. But for this, I think it's, obviously a very different situation. But I like the comment in the chat where someone said they expect to become vaporware.
yeah.
Like that's a fair point.
Yeah. There's also
Interesting.
a comment here from Plastic Cog Liquid. I like Tommy just because he's weird. I like the Amico because it's weird
Yeah.
too. But I feel like I'm probably one of the 25 people that will actually buy the thing. Expect to become a vapor.
Yeah.
That's the same comment you were reading. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I only read the first half.
It was at the end.
I apologize.
That's okay.
And then let's see here. Howdy, did you all announce the winners of those dev carts a while back? Yes, we did. The winners have been notified and have been shipped to their carts. I'm hungry for bananas. That's good. I'm waiting for the price to drop. And there's another quick question asking if I'm still working on a ROM hack that I made with Nova. I've actually never made a ROM hack, but I did cover one of his ROM hacks. I'm excited to do it again. So, regarding liking Tommy or not liking Tommy, I'm actually really kind of sympathetic for Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
In a weird way. In a weird way.
Yeah.
Now, let me take you on this journey. Yeah. So here's the thing is that he kind of reminds me of the way I acted toward my creative work when I was much younger. The difference is that he's a very wealthy, like mid 50s, 60s, something like, I don't know how old he is, but he's gone through his career basically.
Yeah.
I'm talking about occasionally how I acted when I was 20.
Yeah.
And much so when I was working in film and I was in film school, I would often write a script, and script writing is something you have to do like 100 times before you get good at it. And my scripts sucked. They were bad. They weren't good. They had maybe some good elements or some good heart in them or whatever, but they were often, especially longer ones where you had to maintain consistent conflict for a long period of time, hot garbage. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm much better at writing a script for Hard4Games. I'm much better in a smaller format, right, than trying to create like fictional conflict that lasts an hour or whatever. I'm just not talented at that anymore, or never was. What I can write is short form, and I'm good at reasonably decent at that, I'll say. But when I was younger, often if I would get criticized for something, in my writing, I'd be like, oh, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. They don't understand. Like, they don't understand my vision for how it would be on screen. Like, it's just the words. They don't understand how it would be. But a great script, you should be able to understand it and really love it like a book. You would love a book, and then when it's translated to screen, it should get even better, right? So, at that point in time, it was like, I felt like everyone just like hated my work and this and that. Again, I was like 20 or like in my teens. Like, my friends, especially with my high school movies, John, who produces the show with me, regularly talks about how crappy my high school movies were. And then often when I'm like, yeah, but I've gotten better, and he'll just kind of sit there in silence. It's great. I'll fish for a compliment. He won't give it to me. No matter what, he will never give it to me. But point is, I don't know, in Tommy's part, maybe it's just being arrogant, but what this reads to me as him working on a passion project that people are shitting on, that he just can't take it anymore. Like the criticism. Like he has this vision of what it will be, and he just keeps thinking, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like, going to the media and be like, no, you got this wrong. No, you got this wrong. Like, it's going to be like this. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like this. And he's trying so hard, and he'll like invite YouTubers to his like headquarters and like try to like re-explain the situation and like, no, you don't get it. It's this, it's not that. But the thing is that he hasn't realized, like I didn't realize when I was like a kid practically, which is the difference, that the reason why it's being criticized is because there's things to criticize it about. You know, like there's issues. There's legit issues here. Um,
Yeah.
but I feel like he feels like he's being like crapped on so frequently that he's just snapping. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
he just snapped at this Ars Technica guy, and every time you do that, you just make it so much worse for
Oh
everyone.
yeah.
You know, and yourself
Yeah.
and your employees and your devs and you know what I mean? And like it doesn't help anyone to
Hmm.
do that. So and yeah, again, like it just kind of reminds me of like a younger creative film school me that was just like, no, you don't
You
get
don't get
you
it.
don't get the vision, you know.
My vision.
The vision. No, it's like the vision. If I could go back in time and slap myself a couple times, I would, man. Like, tell you what, slappity slap slap. That's what I do to myself. I'd shake myself really hard, give me a good old slap slap, and be like, no,
Oh
rewrite
my
your
god.
script because it's crap. God damn it.
Oh my god.
Let's catch up on these comments real quick because
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna let you talk. I swear to God, because I just
No,
gave
it's
I gave it like
okay.
a Shakespearean monologue there. Good
No, there
lord.
was some really good comments. I'm trying to find. Can you write a Tommy Tallarico biopic, please?
I can try. I can try.
Don't forget the controllers listed at $99 Canadian or
Ooh.
99 Canadian dollars on EB Games Canada website.
Yeah, that's rough. And I get that there's a lot of tech in them, but
Yeah.
between them being so proprietary and like so like they're complex yet they have lag, like I
Yeah.
am holding off on buying a new Joy-Cons because my son likes playing the Switch, but he's like rough with the
Yeah.
joystick, so he's introduced
Yeah.
like Joy-Con drift with all of our Joy-Cons, and I have like regular like pro style controllers from Hori, but I need
Yeah.
to get new Joy-Cons. So I'm like holding off because they're like $80 or whatever,
Oh yeah.
and like but so I wouldn't want to spend $99 for an extra like Intellivision controller. Like that's
Hmm.
wild, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. Let me
Let's see.
see.
Like Miss One Time, he was only known for his music. I have no problem with people um like go out and do like unrelated passion projects,
Hmm.
but this reminds me of oh god, here comes John talking about, he says, oh man, I was a prick about those. I rewatched them and love them now. Honestly, we should do a secret screening of some of our high school movies at a con sometime. They're a ton of fun to
Oh
watch
my
as a group. There is something way too entertaining about that sort of film. I still have the vast majority of them preserved and on a hard drive. But
That's
for those of you that are unaware, like now, let me just throw this out there, okay? I don't pretend to be a great looking dude, but in high school I was ugly. So
oh no.
like like nerdy glasses, but not in like a cool way where it's like, oh wow, you know, like Allie's pulling off here. I was
Oh my god.
like garbage glasses,
Oh
and
no.
then like I totally like I have good posture now, but I was like this in high school, like straight
Oh
up, like bad
no.
slouch. I'm like in this movies, like with my head, like it was my high school, my college, first college roommate that was like fixed my slouch for me. It kept like
Oh my
bothering
god.
me until I got it myself straightened. Um,
Yeah.
he says you weren't ugly. You were just really awkward. I don't know. I think my personality got me through high school. I was a likable guy. I did sports. You know,
Yeah.
I was really friendly, but I mean, you know, I don't think my wife would date me then. Hell no. You know what I mean? Like it's no, I mean John, I mean I'm not fishing for compliments here. I'm saying the way it is, buddy. Like it's
I want to see a Tony
I
on
was
OnlyFans. Oh no, in the chat.
what's that?
Someone said I want to see Tony on
In
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yeah, exactly. Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
No,
Yeah,
but
Tony OnlyFans.
my high school movies were garbage. I mean, but there was a charm to them. You know, there's a lot of heart. It was funny. Like we're joking around, but like it's hard. They're hard to go back to.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, John, you weren't a prick about it. Everyone that I knew was a prick about them. No.
Oh god,
But
the chat's popping off.
yeah. So Tony Feet picks. But you know what, John? I loved making those old movies with you. They were a ton of fun, and now we make movies all the time with Hard4Games, so it's good stuff. Anyways,
Yeah.
what I was trying to say is that
Yes.
you learn stuff through doing a creative process for a long time. And
Yes.
if this was Tommy's third or fourth console, he probably would have it down, just like if it was your
Yeah.
third or fourth move or whatever. There's also something I wanted to bring up. I swear to God, I'm gonna let you talk, Allie. Regarding what's called the E-Myth, which is called the Entrepreneurial Myth. This is a book called the E-Myth. If you've never read it, you definitely should. And basically, the gist is this: I am a professional quilt maker, so therefore I can run a business that sells quilts. Incorrect. They are two different skills, and I think that Tommy in this case has kind of fallen under that E-Myth issue. Anyways, I'm gonna shut the hell up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I actually saw before I had like heard about it, like through other podcasts and stuff, when he was tweeting this stuff, I saw Frank Cifaldi tweet about it. And like his original, he screenshotted, the tweets we have on screen, what we're just talking about. And I just liked his caption. It was just like, there's so much to unpack here.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think sums that up. And then the rest of his thread was saying, did not know it was illegal to practice journalism by investigating a publicly available source. I should be in prison 50 times over. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I going to get sued for posting a screenshot of his tweet now? It's just, oh my God, it's just so ridiculous. Like
super wild. Super wild.
I just can't, like, I feel like I'm more of like an outsider, like looking in, just because like whenever I hear about this, it's just from, whatever, from like other people. I'm not like, whenever something happens, I'm like, oh my God, I must know. But it's just fascinating to watch from like sort of an outside perspective of like all of this going down and everything. But it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I also got a message that says, feel free to read this after your stream. Please don't let it distract you from your stream. Oh my God. It's distracted me.
Oh my God.
From the stream.
Oh no.
Oh God. What if he has a really good point that I want to share? Oh my goodness. He's talking about something that, oh God, I can't let it, I'm sorry.
No, go do it. Go.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
it's too late. Do it. Yeah, go. Do it. The message is that he's going to get sued. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, he's just chiming in regarding our talk regarding collecting games and selling them. The gentleman, I believe, I don't really know, is named the Vibrator. The person who contacted me, who I had to credit as such in a video for helping me. So I decided to say that out loud. So I was like, no wonder YouTube won't push our videos. But yeah, lots of suing going around. And then I have a new screenshot on screen here where it's sort of Tommy's quote, apology. I said apology.
Oh, I didn't see this. Wait, let me...
So he says, yo, everyone, capital E, capital D, didn't mean to cause such a stir in regards to calling out Sam Red in his article. Our developer portal, I keep wanting to say porter like the beer, had a hole in security and was breached. Was it, or was it just public?
It was just public.
The copywritten info. God damn, again. It is.
You had another chance and you screwed it up.
Apparently, someone tweeted at him said something like, "For fuck's sake, it's copyrighted," and he hearted it or something. It was labeled private, confidential, not for public dissemination. Some may say that posting it publicly violates DMCA, which I'm not super familiar with that, but I don't believe it does.
No. Like if the article was posting that stuff, I think he means. Yeah.
Okay. We're a small company trying to bring something unique to the video game world, during a crazy time in the world. Hope you all can play together. I sometimes get a little too emotional because the information that is being spread isn't true, and my family, employees, and developers get actively harassed. We'll try to do better and look forward to more people actually trying Amico for themselves before crapping all over it. Now, obviously, no one wants anybody to get harassed. I haven't really seen anyone on that team, maybe I just don't know, getting harassed. I haven't heard about anything like that. And obviously, no one should be doing that. But it is not harassment to give a fair critique of a business or a business practice or a product. It's simply not. But, everyone needs to be reasonable
Yeah.
regarding that, you know. But it's it's kind of, it comes off as sort of like a 2/3 apology. Maybe it's a little bit more than a half
Yeah,
apology.
I agree. I agree. I think that the last tweet where he's like, "Oh, I get emotional and like the info spread isn't true," and blah blah blah. Like your take earlier, like regarding, I guess, sort of his viewpoint or like demeanor or whatever, I think is spot on. Where it's like he's just so invested
Yeah.
that like sometimes, I mean, you just gotta take a step back. Like
Yeah.
just let a PR people like handle the stuff, but I get where he's coming from, but I'm also like, man, like if you just didn't say anything,
Yeah.
fine.
I know, right? So that's why I kind of feel bad for him in a way, because it's like,
Yeah.
he loves this thing. He obviously loves the Amico. Like he's
Yeah.
like, so, like I said, so invested in it.
Yeah.
And he gets so upset when anybody like criticizes it, but it's like, you just gotta take a step back, you know. It's like, if every time me or you got a comment on YouTube or Twitch or what have you that
blew up,
that like we didn't like or was offensive to us, like, we would just, like, how would we continue like this, you know?
how
Like,
would we survive?
you know what I mean? Like, there's just everything from like all sorts of harassment. I mean, there's amazing, fantastic comments. The VAT, 99% of them are amazing comments, and we appreciate all you guys watching, obviously. But there's a lot of stuff that was just, people get so angry about, you know. And there's also stuff that isn't even like overly angry. It's just sort of like, you dick.
Negative.
Like, yeah. So like, there was this comment on, I did this sponsored stream with this shmup called Moolander, which is basically going after cows, and all your weapons are milk based. So it's kind of funny. I thought it was cool. I thought it was neat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, that's actually kind of fun. So I was like, yeah, I'll actually do that. So there's like a comment on it that was like, or a comment on our Tonic Trouble prototype video that was like, this is the type of content that you should be doing, not any of that sponsored crap. If you do anything sponsored, you will earn my dislike.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa. Like,
well, big boy.
you pretentious son of a bitch. Like,
I always find that so ironic when people
like,
are like, how dare you do sponsored content, when it's like, you gotta make money somehow. Like, it's not,
so it's
free content.
Yeah, so it's like, for example, I mentioned, I accepted this for review, but I needed a new mic, and also with Moolander, it looked like a cool game. Like, I enjoyed it. And, for example, like, even if we get prototypes in, like, so for example, the last batch of prototypes we got in, we dumped. And my policy generally is you ship it to me, I ship it back to you. As the shipping back to you, and, it's like, hey, thanks for letting us do this. Like, I'll cover the charge back. It was to Europe, and it was like $60, and that's not uncommon to, like, a couple times a month have to spend $60 to, and plus additional equipment. Like, we did these MO discs, which are magneto-optical discs, and spent like hundreds of dollars trying to get them read. Which I still need to do an episode, because I have all this like original N64 art assets, but I just haven't had the time to cover them yet. Yeah. But they're so cool. Oh my god. Awesome. That's awesome. And anyways, point is that people make comments about it, but it's like, I mean, you can't just go bankrupt doing this. But also too, the overarching point is that you can't crumble every time there's a negative criticism.
Oh god, you would not be able to survive on the internet. Like, you might as well just like quit at that point. Like, it's crazy. And I think with the sponsored content too, like that point, I get people, because I hear this in my stream sometimes, or like on videos, like if I do something sponsored, it's like, most of the stuff, at least for me personally, that I take on, like I do stuff that like games I genuinely like or want to check out, or like that are in line with my brand, I guess. Like, I'm not gonna, I got offered like a Raid Shadow Legends thing, and I never ended up doing it, because I'm like, okay, it like pays decent, but like I don't want to do that. Me personally, I have friends that have done it. more power to him. But I think it's like, I can understand where people are coming from, like with, negative feelings or being hesitant about, when people do sponsored stuff and it's something like completely out of left field, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, what the heck? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
So
John says you
yeah.
can never be as good as Rich Evans, who is on Red Letter Media. That's talking to me, by the way. Don't hold yourself to high standards. That's the thing. It's like you said, like, where would we be? Like, if we took criticism the way that Tommy takes criticism, I never would have done Hard4Games because I would have been so beaten down by John's negativity of me in high school.
Oh my god.
And all of you, if any of my high school friends are watching. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
Yeah.
But
so
no,
funny.
I mean, like, negative criticism helps you grow. I mean, and criticism helps you grow, and it's good. So, like, it's just, I feel like Tommy, he's overreacting. He's so passionate. He's,
He needs to take a step back.
Yeah, like he's, I don't know what it is, but it's take a step back, enjoy what you got, push for the best possible product, and just be as transparent as humanly possible regarding it. I think it's probably the best.
That's a good way to sum that up. I think I agree.
Yeah. Oh, here's a great comment. We got a super chat. Thank you so much, Cameron Love. I dumped my N64 dev cart. Turns out only stored beta pics of Tony OnlyFans. Oh, wow. Ooh, spicy. Oh my goodness. Whew, let me get this hair all.
I gotta do a hair swoop.
Yeah, exactly. You got the headphones that kind of like smash it down a little bit.
It like smushes.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the super chat. John is just still talking about Rich Evans. Hashtag Tonely fans. This is so funny. Yeah, hell, if I could do an OnlyFans, I would, because what I would do is I wouldn't like ever show my face though, because I want to be able to hold a job down. But nobody wants to fucking see this. So you know what I mean? Like I haven't done it in a while, but I used to be every year in the summer I treat my wife when I go camping to like naring my back, because it's like, I got like Italian hair and whatever.
That's so
and
funny.
she's like it's so much better like without all that hair, because I'm like, oh, like hairy dude, right? And I haven't done it in a year. I think I might surprise her and just like be like, I messed up. I'm also don't have any hair on my head. But point is that like no one's guys, I appreciate the support, but no one's gonna pay for this unsculpted mess of a man. I have all my dad's strength, like pretty solid. Like I'm stronger than I've ever been, but like rib cage down, like to my waist, like that's all COVID weight, baby. Like no one wants to see that shit.
This is the content I came here for.
No, like it's just, hey, like I'm honest about it. I mean, it's not,
snap.
it is what it is. I lost 4 or 5 pounds recently. I want to lose another lose another 10-ish or so.
I'll lose the quarantine weight.
Yeah, it's just I need to slow down my carbs, I think is what it is. But anyways, that none of you came here for that. So Knack Jaimin 299, thank you so much for the super chat. What is all this? The COVID weight says hi. Bro, you play Star Fox and drink beer all day. Don't cap. No, what I do is I parent children and work. That's what I mostly do. Anyways, okay, we need to stop talking about me and my body. This is getting weird. But I have no delusions of grandeur about it. Let's just put it that way. So Allie, tell me about you. What do you have? What do you have coming up? What's on your docket?
Yeah. So for YouTube, my next video I have planned or I'm working on is another Game Boy Color mod video, which I'm excited about. I've talked a little bit about it on my Patreon and showed them, I got sent some like parts from a company basically to like try out on a video. So I'm excited to do that. That's next on the list for YouTube. And then Twitch, I've been addicted to Final Fantasy 14, so I've been playing that a lot. That's pretty much what I've been doing over there. But yeah, and then I just put out the Shantae video I talked about, all the like E3 content reaction stuff. And also actually Gridlin messaged me earlier today. He's like, "Hey, I got this idea for video or
Oh,
something.
okay.
So maybe yeah, I'll get him to send it to you too. So maybe we could all figure something out. But
Okay. Well,
maybe that too.
if
But
it doesn't work as a collab, you get first dibs. But if it does work
okay.
as a collab, I'm happy to work with you.
Yeah.
You know, per usual, like I said in the beginning of this, I was trying to look for an excuse to, because it's like
Yeah.
we're doing stuff pretty on the regular for a while, and then it kind of faded just with projects and stuff, and
Yeah, stuff
responsibility,
happens.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you got anything else going on? Some secret Pokemon thing with Gridlin, but aside from that,
Well, he literally messaged me about it yesterday, but
oh, okay.
but that's the main thing that's maybe like on the horizon. But yeah, next video,
Hmm.
which I need to buy more parts for the Game Boy that I don't have, but I want to do another mod video because I really like doing those.
Yeah.
I love Game Boys, so
Game Boys are a good modded Game Boy. Oh my
oh,
god. Chef's
I love
kiss.
it. It's
Chef's
so
kiss.
great.
Oh my god. Um Mr. Mega Man fan says, does Tommy understand the damage he's doing to his name? I don't
Good
know.
question.
I don't know. I think he'd be more concerned about the damage to the
The
product.
brand.
The brand,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
I
know.
feel like maybe he realized. I feel like deep down he probably realizes, and like this is just me. Like I'm just an internet person making a take on this about someone I don't know. But if I had to guess, I feel like deep down he knows, like, because he was kind of self aware in that last tweet, where he's like, "Oh, I get too emotional sometimes," blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and like he realizes, I think deep down that like, you know, his reactions or outbursts or whatever definitely maybe don't help, but it's like he's so maybe just like tunnel vision to like
Yeah.
passionate about it that like he doesn't care. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's in too deep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on it,
It,
but
it
I
could
don't really know.
Yeah, it could
So,
also be that he sees Twitter as a small percentage of his market. Like,
yeah.
I think that he thinks of like all of gaming as his potential market, but the thing is that it's so
Mm.
niche with so little advertising that the Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, social, whatever, is kind of the extent of the bubble that he's reached so
Well,
far.
yeah, and the people that have been engaging with it are all people, like us, that are like, deep into like gaming or retro gaming or like that sort of sphere, I guess,
Yeah.
of like YouTubers, content people, etc.
Yeah.
So
And Mr. Mega Man fan says, I met Mr. Tellerico at a con in the 2000s. And at the time, he seemed like a nice guy and a cool composer. Now he's gone overboard with the threats. I think he probably is a nice guy. And I think he is an amazing composer.
yeah.
I think he's extremely talented. I just think
Mhm.
that, I think it's sort of a combination between the E-myth that we talked about before and sort of the emotionality of it. But either way, I know we mentioned a lot of Allie's projects that she's working on. As you can see on screen, we have all of her handles, but there's also actual links that you can go and click in the description below. And please do. She has amazing retro content. She
Great.
streams over on Twitch very regularly, way more regular than Hard4Games does. So if you need to kind of scratch that itch, she's a good opportunity to do that. And then as far as stuff that we have over here on Hard4Games, I have a Game Boy modem that I'm doing an expose on called the World Port. It was
Ooh.
released in the UK, and
Oh
a
wow.
gentleman by the name of, I think gentleman, I don't really know. Sometimes with the internet, who knows? But
Yeah.
an individual by the name of Zesty Dev hacked it so you could get past the registration screen and actually get through all the PDA features and such. And
Oh, that's
this Saturday, we're also covering the first ever earliest alpha build prototype Vita. So it's
ooh,
super
that's
early.
cool.
It's literally held together by tape, and
Oh my god.
but that's the way they shipped it. That's the way they shipped it.
Yeah.
And this was sent over by developer Jeff, who you should all check out. And he mentioned to me today that he was very rattled by the situation with, is it pronounced Near, the
Mhm.
programmer who recently passed. And he asked me to, oh god, I hope this is the right one. Here we go. Put this up just for a little bit. This is just the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline in the United States. Because he mentioned that it would just mean a lot to him as his birthday's coming up, a little birthday gift to him, to put this up on
Mhm.
screen both now and also during in the comment section of the video on Saturday. So yeah, so just, if anything, and if anyone's struggling out there, I'm not gonna preach or anything like that, but just know that there's help out there, and there are options for you, and this is a good one right here. So please just put it into consideration if it's something that has crossed your mind, obviously. And also, happy upcoming birthday to developer Jeff. So
Yeah.
on a lighter note, it's a very lovely thing paired with
Happy
a very
birthday.
serious thing. Yeah, exactly. But let's see. John mentions that Hagen BSNES was an amazing accomplishment, gone way too soon. I use all the time, don't sue me, Nintendo. Yeah, so the individual that passed was extremely talented programmer responsible for BSNES. If you've used an SNES emulator, it's probable you've used something that they've created. So,
yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, I think I covered all the random crap I'm going to be covering. I have a magazine coming in from Japan that is unscanned and has Earthbound 64 content in it.
Ooh,
so there might be something new there, or it might just be garbage I overpaid
Same
for.
old.
We'll see what happens. But this particular magazine has provided new content that's been undiscovered in the past, so I'm hoping for the best.
Nice. Yeah, hopefully.
Anyways, Allie, before, oh my god, I think my daughter's asleep. Before we go, is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, thanks for having me on. This was fun. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys like, retro games or like JRPGs and stuff, that's mainly what I'm into, what I cover on my channel and Twitch and stuff. So if you're into that, yeah, just make sure go check it out. And yeah, hopefully, we get to do this again soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. So that's all I got.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for joining us again.
Thank
And
you.
once again, all of her links they should be, if it's saved properly, in the description below. Otherwise, just look for retr0ali on Twitch and YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, and we'll see you all